Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor. Last night, something really great happened in America. We had 3 debates, 2 senatorial debates in Utah and in Ohio, and a gubernatorial debate in Georgia. It was great because the people of those states actually got to see both candidates, the Democrat and Republican. Well, in Utah, it's an independent, but we all know. See them debate the issues so that the voters in those states can actually make a choice come Election Day 3 weeks from today. I say that's a great thing because sadly in other areas of this country that's not happening. Democrats are finding reasons not to meet their Republican counterparts on the stage. In Arizona, Katie Hobbs, the Democrat nominee for governor, she's using the most odious reason to not debate Kari Lake. She says, "I won't let that person grace the stage with me. She's such a terrible person, I won't even dignify her with my presence." It's not about you, Katie Hobbs, it's about the voters. And that brings us to, well, sadly, a local congressional district right here in the Washington area, the 7th Congressional District of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger is the Democrat incumbent there, and she won't debate her Republican counterpart, Yesli Vega, and she's using me as the excuse. We talked about this yesterday. I was named to be the moderator in that debate, and, well, apparently she won't bring herself to be on stage with me. WJLA, the local ABC affiliate here in Washington, D.C., they ran a story on it. But notice in this story that Abigail Spanberger doesn't even mention me as a reason why she's not going on the debate stage. Here, watch.
7 News requested an interview with Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger to learn why she pulled out of the only scheduled debate with her Republican opponent Yesli Vega. Spanberger refused to do an interview. Instead, a Spanberger spokesperson sent 7 News a statement saying the Vega campaign tried to corrupt the debate into non-existence. Vega disagrees and says Spanberger backed out of the debate because of Democratic lawmaker Elizabeth Guzman's recent comments that received national attention.
She doesn't want to have to answer, right, for her surrogates' positions, extreme positions on jailing parents if they refuse to affirm their child's gender identity.
In an interview with 7 News, Guzman discussed a bill she said she wanted to introduce in Virginia.
What could the penalties be if, the investigation concludes and it's concluded that a parent is not affirming of their LGBTQ child? What could the consequences be?
Well, we first have to have an investigation, and before we make the determination that there's going to be a CPS charge, depending on the type of abuse, and this is for all abuse, not only LGBTQ, it could be a felony, it could be a misdemeanor, but we know that a CPS charge could harm, your employment, could harm your education.
Now, you'll notice that she did mention me as the reason why she wasn't going on the debate, and you saw the real reason. It's this state delegate who wants to criminalize parents who don't affirm their child's gender identity. They actually wanted to propose it as a law. And Abigail Spanberger, she was going to be asked about that. I guarantee you I would have asked her about it. And a little bit later in this report, you actually see exactly what's at play here, because not only do Democrats not want to answer for this policy, they're trying to delete it from ever even existing. Here, watch.
7 News learned about Guzman's bill through this podcast.
I've been working with a representative. See, I don't know. In a small district that I'm not a resident of, and she's a former social worker and has her clinical degree and recognizes the abuse and the long-term harm caused by not affirming your kids. And so we were working on a child protection bill that would make it illegal to not affirm.
After national backlash to Guzman's bill, the podcast is no longer available. And now there's no longer a scheduled debate in Virginia's 7th Congressional District.
Where are you, Abigail? Parents deserve to know where you stand on this issue.
Now listen, I hate it when journalists make themselves the story. I hate being a part of this story, and I'm not trying to make myself a part of this story. Abigail Spanberger, the congresswoman, she keeps talking about me. She keeps bringing me into this. Washington Post did a story about it yesterday. They actually quoted me in context and fairly. Thanks, WAPO. What I told them was what I'll tell you right now. Abigail Spanberger says that I have shown hatred toward Democrats. No, disagreeing with a Democrat is not showing hatred. It's disagreeing with their policies, all right? But last night, Abigail Spanberger went on a big tweet storm, and in it she called me far right. Now, anyone who knows me knows that the farthest right I ever get is when I sing along with the producer's cast recording. If I'm far right, that means every single Republican is far right. And make no mistake, this is the othering of us. If you're a conservative Republican, even a mainstream normative Republican, you're far right, and you don't deserve the dignity of having your questions answered. This is exactly like Joe Biden standing in front of the blood-drenched gates of Lucifer giving that speech about the semi-fascists out there. Anyone who reasonably disagrees with this Congresswoman on any policy is now not worthy of being on the stage. Now, I volunteered to step away from this debate, but she canceled anyway because it was never about me. It was about her not wanting to answer hard questions. And these are hard questions that any one of the constituents she represents might want to ask her. But let's clear up a few of the lies here that she's putting out there. She keeps quoting me about saying that I've told people that they need to make Democrats pay. I was talking about making them pay at the ballot box for putting our children in masks in school. And I still believe you should make them pay with your vote. She also says that I've called Democrats monsters. Well, I was referring to the literal dead bodies piling up on the border, the humanitarian crisis, the morgues overflowing at the border because Democrats have allowed our border to be porous and allowed that horrible policy to continue. Yes, I believe it's monstrous, and their policies are monstrous. Now, just because of that, I'm told that I'm not allowed to be a moderate. But even more than me, it's about you, all right? You're not allowed to challenge your Democrat congressman or woman with any kind of questions because you're a Republican. Well, listen, for the record, I want to throw out exactly the questions that I would have asked her. Let's start with this one. What specifically in the Inflation Reduction Act that you voted for will assist in reducing inflation? How about this question? What limitations would you put on abortion? 18 weeks, 30 weeks, 40 weeks? How about this question? You ran as a former CIA officer. What advice did you give the Biden administration on their Afghanistan withdrawal? Did they listen to you? If not, why didn't they take your advice? Why don't you have any influence in your own party? See, questions like that. Now those are tough questions, and they're the questions that, frankly, a Democrat never gets in debates like this. If those questions are far right, then Liz Cheney is far right. Now, I've had Democrats on my program before. I've interviewed them. Terry McAuliffe, Madeleine Albright, the former Secretary of State, rest her soul. Here I am interviewing Madeleine Albright. Look at me there. I look good. Well, a little heavier there. Marriage has been good for me. I interviewed D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser on my show. You know, none of them walked away thinking that I had been unfair with them. Abigail Spanberger is welcome on this program anytime. I reach out to every Democrat candidate who's running against a Republican I've had on my show, and I invite them on. And I'd love to have her on. Consider this a formal invitation, Representative Spanberger. Let's show Virginians, let's show all of America that you aren't afraid of tough but fair questions concerning your record and your positions. And if you show up for the interview, I'll consider that an apology.